Before the Israelites could even reach Rahab to save her, God had already gone ahead. Before the shouting, before the walls fell, before the victory was visible, her rescue was already secured. But let's take a step back. When Israel left Egypt, there were about 600,000 men, not counting, women and children, moving toward freedom. Years later, before entering the land, a second census was taken to identify those ready for battle, and the number was 601,730. Yet when it came to Jericho, a group of armed men stepped forward to fight, with some estimates suggesting around 40,000 warriors. And even more remarkable, those who had already settled in Gilead still joined the battle. The men from Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh went ahead armed, before the rest of Israel, taking the front lines and fulfilling the promise they had made. But how did this happen? The answer goes back to Numbers 32, where these tribes asked to settle on the east side of the Jordan, because the land was good for their livestock. God allowed it, but with a condition. They had to help the rest of Israel secure the land on the other side before returning to their own inheritance. So even though their portion was already given, they crossed over and stood at the front, choosing obedience and unity over comfort, carrying not just weapons, but a promise they had made before God. And then came Jericho, a city shut tight, walls standing tall, and a command that didn't make sense. Instead of charging into battle, the Israelites were told to walk around the city, once a day for 6 days, in silence. No shouting, no fighting, just walking. Then on the 7th day, Joshua woke up before sunrise, and everything changed. They didn't go around once, they went around 7 times. And then, at Joshua's command, the trumpets sounded, the people shouted, and suddenly, the walls came crashing down. Everything fell, except one place. Because in the middle of that destruction, there was Rahab, the woman who had already heard about what God had done. Instead of choosing fear, she chose faith. She hid the spies, trusted the God of Israel, and tied that red cord in her window as she was told. And when the walls collapsed on every side, the very section where she lived stood untouched, as if the same power that brought the walls down was also holding that one place together. Before Israel could even reach her, God had already made a way. In the midst of judgment, he didn't just remember her, he preserved her, shielding her home while everything else fell. And maybe that's the lesson for us. The walls didn't fall because Israel was strong, they fell because Israel was aligned. They walked when it didn't make sense. They stayed silent when they wanted to shout. And they obeyed even when nothing seemed to be happening. And in the same way, God still calls his people to trust him with that kind of obedience.